We're going to begin our discussion today. I figured we'd do this because a lot of you may well be watching Coffee Break from your coffee break at work. And if that's the case, you might be surprised to find out just how many workplace accidents have occurred in Rhode Island in the last few years. And that's why Mark Murphy's here now, the editor of the Providence Business News. Cover story in the current edition of the newspaper delves into that in some detail with the online and the in-print headline reading, "How safe is your workplace?" Kind of an ominous headline there.
Seriously. Well, I think that it's like you would expect, right? In manufacturing, construction, about half of the serious injuries, and the way that OSHA defines it, that the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, is an amputation, the loss of an eye, or an in-hospital visit, which is pretty serious, obviously. About half of those in the last few years have been in those two industries. And what's interesting to us is how the people in those industries say you actually should be able to prevent almost all of them.
Yeah.
You know.
Now, the statistics and figures from your article that we can show you, there were 6 fatal accidents. These are all Rhode Island workplaces, yes, between the years 2017 and 2018. Those are the fatal accidents. Look at how many non-fatal accidents there were. 34 to 38 accidents each year from 2015 through 2017. When I saw those numbers, I said, that's a lot more than certainly we've reported here and in other news forums, a lot more than I expected.
Well, you know, one thing is OSHA now requires a lot more reporting on the national stage. So I think we will see, at least if you pay attention to the statistics, we'll see more injuries being reported. But they actually think that's in a sense, that's a good thing, because they feel like they can be more proactive. When there are serious injuries, they can go to a workplace and suggest different changes in how they do things. For instance, one piece is if you need to use both hands for something, then they make sure they paint it a different color. Or if you shouldn't be in one place, they'll do that. They'll mark it off. They'll paint the floor differently. So these are very simple things that can cut back on injuries that really everyone in the business thinks can be prevented.
Because they believe most accidents are unnecessary. I was also interested to read that state and local government workers are not protected under the OSHA laws that apply, I guess, for private industry.
Well, there are a lot of exemptions. I think that smaller companies aren't necessarily scrutinized the same way. I think that it's just been interesting. It's interesting to us when we learned that how light and the regulation has been for a long time.
Yeah, and commercial fishermen are exempted from OSHA regulations if they're 3 miles offshore. Now that's a very dangerous industry.
Yeah, and you wonder why that would be. I think maybe they just feel like there are so many variables. I mean, the ocean is not like glass.
No, it's not. There's a lot more to the story here, including different methods to avoid workplace accidents that different employers are dealing with. Very interesting, and it's in the current edition of the Providence Business News, also online, of course. And Mark Murphy, we thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Frank.